Welcome back to Cityline. Please join me in welcoming a woman that has wings on her back that you perhaps cannot see, but when we're done talking, you'll understand why I say this. Please join me in welcoming Rena Markin. She is a program coordinator for Lutheran Community Services Northwest, and we're going to talk about this phrase doesn't go together, so I'm really interested in jumping in. We're going to talk about virtual senior friends. Welcome to Cityline, Rena.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So first off, Rena, I understand that your position covers just different aspects of providing service to seniors, which we all know is such a gift. Can you tell me more about your roles at Lutheran Community Services Northwest? What does all of your day encompass?
Well, it's a lot, but I'll start with the most important at this point in time, which is our Senior Friend Program. I was hired to do that initially. That takes up most of my hours. And what that does is it matches lonely and isolated seniors with a volunteer. And we ask the volunteers be legal adults, 18 or older. And it's so rewarding, Amanda, because our elders experience so many feelings of loneliness and isolation, even if they're in a community. And sometimes we feel like if they're around other people, then they're not lonely, but in actuality, many are. So we're just really happy to be able to help them. And what we do with this program is our volunteers focus just on them. So sometimes even if they do have people around them, they're not focused on who they are. And so we provide companionship and socialization and really give them a sense of someone who cares about them as individuals. So when we meet in person, our Senior Friend volunteers share stories with them. They can talk about or work on hobbies that they might be interested in, have some coffee, visit museums, go for walks, running errands. And many seniors, you probably know, are isolated due to transportation issues, even if they are living in their own home. And some of them are visually impaired. And so even going grocery shopping or getting to the doctor is really difficult for them. So having a volunteer who will come and be with them and talk with them and do things with them is so very important. Also, I do one other thing. So I wear that hat. And then I also have a hat where I work with senior or social engagement programs. And those are activities that we do for people who have beginning stages of memory decline. And then we work with them, or cognitive impairment, and we work with them and their care partners to provide some socialization. And so a couple of those things are when we were in person, we did our zoo walks, which is in association with the Alzheimer's Association. We would meet at a cafe and do memory cafes once a month. And then we also had a weekly music program. So we even did a performance or two. So we had a lot of fun.
I love that. And everything that you have said is the perfect world when we're not coming out of a pandemic and we're also not keeping our eye on a Delta variant that's quickly showing itself in our community. So how has the pandemic affected these services, and what has the impact been on those that you're serving? And we also, because we're going to get to this, because virtual has 2 meetings. So what are we doing now to keep all this goodness going?
So truthfully, the lockdown was a real blow. It was a big blow to the volunteers as well as a blow to the clients. And of course, everyone back when it started especially had this huge fear of not spreading a virus to our most vulnerable population. And so we stayed at home, including all of us. We were sent home. And we temporarily closed our social engagement offerings and found that communication and visitation in our Senior Friend Program actually almost came to a grinding halt. Not exactly, because we had some very interesting ideas from some of our volunteers who went ahead and found ways taking huge precautionary measures, but they adapted. And one even went so far as to go to her person's retirement home and stand at the window and talk on the phone so that they had a window visit, they called it. But yeah, it was so, it was really hard on the volunteers and it was hard on the clients. But we wanted to make sure that we were able to answer the call and not make it so that clients went without visitation. So actually, I made quite a few calls and called them, checked in with them to make sure they were doing all right. And we just got creative. So that's the best is we get creative when we're serving others.
So, Rosie, in this last 7 minutes, I want to focus on how you're pivoting the senior friends from in-person to virtual and what virtual means, because it has two definitions. So tell us, how are you pivoting and what can we expect?
Yeah, so we were able to really put our heads together, and many of our programs figured out how to go virtual. And we were blessed with having an intern during this time. And she was a master's degree social worker. And so she was tasked with coming up with this virtual program so that we could match seniors with people in a virtual format, that means either by phone or online. And so with video chat or something like that for those seniors who are able to do that. And as she got going in this process, she found that we found as a group that it was really aligning with what I was already doing with the in-person senior friends. So she and I jumped on together and we put our heads together and we basically took our in-person senior friend program and created a virtual format for that. So we were able to work through all of our training and redo everything so that we could help those seniors. And we launched it early this year, and it's been a great success. The virtual friends, we recruit volunteers who are specifically willing and able to call their clients, because some of the other ones weren't comfortable making calls. So they backed off and didn't do that during the pandemic. But these volunteers are specifically recruited for that or to do video chat. And we find that the seniors actually are sitting expectantly by their phones, waiting for their appointed time to talk with their person, because they really need to know that somebody cares. And the person who really cares about them is going to call, and that's the highlight of their day. And I've got to say, if I can just add this, I'm really excited at what this program has done, because it's made our whole program, we can offer these services to more intergenerational and people. So we're attracting volunteers who are college age, actually. We have a couple of them. And so now we're matching this intergenerational 20, 21, 22 with a senior. And they're just finding that they're having these great conversations. And I'm excited that this virtual format does appeal to the younger people. And, because they can call when they're in school or if they're home in another state. The virtual just opens it up so that we can be so much more flexible instead of having to drive somewhere, pick them up, take them somewhere, do something with them, drive home. They can just hop on a phone call or a video chat and talk to them for a half an hour. So it's just working out beautifully.
Oh, this is amazing. And who would have thought the old standard telephone would be back in fashion again?
Well, it's kind of the new version.
It is the new version. So I would imagine, like many businesses and nonprofits in the state we're in right now, we seem to have a real shortage of people to take jobs, let alone volunteer. So are you looking for more volunteers, and what kind of traits should they have?
We are always looking for new volunteers and more volunteers. The need is so great, Amanda. It's just kind of breaks your heart to think that there are seniors sitting there with nothing to do except watch television. And they've given so much of their lives to the world for their service, for their family. They have so much to offer. So to be able to have match somebody who will listen to their stories, ask for their advice and expertise, it's just absolutely amazing. So what do we look for in volunteers? Integrity, an open heart, caring, loving people. And we have a really strict way that we go about vetting them. So we require they have an interview with me. We do reference checks. We do background checks. Then they have to do the training. So we've got a virtual training, which is about 2 hours. And when we go in person, the training will be about 4 hours, because in person you have other things to deal with, like fall risk and automobile if you transport them, and different issues to talk about. But yeah, we go through this huge process, and really, they're just amazing people. I must say, our volunteers are the most amazing people I've ever met. They are so dedicated and loving for humanity, and we're just so excited that they're available for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am just sitting here soaking in every word and thinking about how it would feel. For instance, this last Christmas, I didn't get to spend Christmas with my daughter. It was the first time in the history of her life I was not with her. And it felt just awful, I got to tell you. And I can only imagine what that must feel like every single day if I am an isolated senior. I don't know how to work a computer, nor do I need to know how after the life and the love I've given this community. But to have someone come along and say, do you want to be on a computer or do you want to be on a phone? Which is best for you is unbelievable. In these last minutes, for all that this program does, Rena, who do you need to thank?
Oh, I would just really love to thank everyone who is part of our staff, our volunteers especially, and our lovely, lovely clients. Loneliness is just such a heartbreak, and there's so many health issues that go with being lonely and isolated. So it has an increased risk of so many extra health issues. And our volunteers and our staff, and then the clients that we serve, have really opened my heart, and I'm just so appreciative of them.
Well, I can tell by the look in your eyes and that smile on your face that they are a reflection of you, and it goes both ways. Rena, thank you so much to you and to your team and all your volunteers for what you do for our most vulnerable and most sacred population. I thank you so much, and I want to have you back on as we get into the holidays, and I bet you those phone calls and those virtual Zooms pick up with family members. Deal?
I hope so. I would love to be back. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. We have much more to come on Cityline. I'm going to take a quick break. You take a break. We'll be right back after this message.